Hey y'all, this is Jessie with our latest episode of Gun Gals Live. We have a fun show planned for y'all and are excited to get to it. But first, let's run through our panel from everyone from SHOT Show. Tonight we have Armintha.
Hey y'all. It's nice to be home. Yay, Texas.
I bet.
Wait a minute. Let me change that. Yay, East Texas. I was so excited to see trees. It wasn't even funny.
We also have Clover Tag. How's it going?
Hello, thanks for the invite.
And we have Mike with MW Tactical. How's it going?
It's going great. And once again, thank you for having me on. And I do greatly appreciate it.
Thank you for joining us. And we also have Stacey. Me and her kind of enjoyed from our cell phones and computers. How's it going, Stacey?
Good. How about you?
It's cold, but it's good. If you would like to join the Gun Gals panel, we would love to have you. Shoot us an email at info@gun-gals.com for more info. Before we get started, we want to give a huge shout out to our awesome Patreon supporters, Clover Tack, Ghost Tactical, GA Trucker, Angry Hay Cutter, and the Gun Snob. Thank you for your support to Gun Gals. So, everybody went to SHOT Show. We're really excited to kind of go through and get everyone's perspective of it and what you were most excited about. So, Armintha, you want to take over?
Yes. So it's been a great week. I haven't really heard anybody complain about anything that much, other than me. I mean, I think I've been the fussy butt of the group this week with my ups and downs. But I was kind of wondering if any of you, after now that you're home and all, if you've had a chance to think of it, and did you have anything that was disappointing, or that it wasn't all just like awesome rainbows, you know what I mean? Was there anything that kind of let you down or whatever? Let's kind of start there, because everything I've heard and seen has been just, it's great, everything's wonderful, this has been awesome, the vibe this year's been great. Just so I'm just kind of curious as to how y'all feel about it this year, now that you're back home and had time to process it. Let's start with Mike.
There wasn't anything that really let me down. There was a few moments that took place that I kind of questioned, but outside of that, the overall SHOT Show experience was overwhelming for me, because this was my first time going to SHOT Show. There was a few other vendors I wanted to get to, but it seemed like everybody who I connected with out there, with the appointments that I had set up and the people I was talking to outside of my appointments, it still kept me on par with my game plan. But there was still like about 8 vendors I did not go to because of time constraints, I guess you can put it.
Right. Which we're going to talk about a little bit more here in a little bit. So, how about you, Clover? Is he there? All right, we're going to skip over him. And how about you, Ghost? He's taking a nap.
Right. I got here as you're asking a question. So what was the question?
Well, everything I heard was just, it was exciting and all was good, and I never really heard anything negative outside of my experiences. So now that you're home and you've kind of had that time to decompress, and some of you made it home, but like days sooner than the rest of us did, you've had that time to kind of reflect on this week. Looking back, was there anything that you were kind of disappointed in, or that that wasn't quite so great now that you're thinking about it?
I'm kind of like Mike. I mean, for the most part, there were a few places that I didn't get, but I've already got kind of relationship with those people, so I can always just email and all that. I just wanted to send anything new stuff, but really wasn't disappointed in anything with SHOT Show. If there was any disappointment at all, it was just, I mean, didn't get to see everybody enough that I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
There were little small things here and there that were disappointing, but like nothing major. It was just more or less reactions to some things, but more or less just not being able to spend enough time with everyone that I would have liked to.
Right. I definitely get that, because I've definitely heard y'all talk about that quite a bit. Just time constraints and different things. And also, yeah. Clover, did you get your mic fixed?
Yeah.
Okay.
But mine's boring. It's going to be basically the same thing. I think for those of us that already have contacts and stuff like that, I mean, we got there and, the vibe, it was so energetic and so much was going on that, you go out to smoke, for example, and, normally you're out there maybe 10 or 15 minutes. And it was one of them situations where you would go out and you would end up being out there 30 or 45 minutes because you've met and talked with, 4 people out there. So, business was being done in a sense, but that was also eating into floor time that you could be doing other things, touching base with those that you've already dealt with, or touching base with those that you wanted to touch base with maybe for the first time. So it was really difficult as each day went by to sit down and, kind of like The Bachelor or something, right? It's like, or what is the one where they kick everybody off the island, Survivor, and figure out who you're not gonna go see. And that was disappointing. It didn't, by no means did it outweigh the good, but it was disappointing when you had to sit down with your list and cut people from that list. Because in my mind, everybody there, everybody in the industry is valuable to the industry and the community. And they're all deserving of time. They're deserving of attention, whatever their product might be. They're out there. They're putting on the line. They're putting it on the line. They're trying to innovate. They're a part of the community. So, anytime you have to cut them, that's certainly not a good thing. But like Ghost says, hopefully, even companies that you didn't have time to meet up with, and maybe you haven't met up with them before, hopefully, as the year goes along, I mean, we've still got NRA, of course, and hopefully as the year goes along, we can make contact with those people, and they understand, because they were there at the show too. And by all accounts that I've seen, the vendors and the dealers and pretty much everybody there was having a stellar year. So, hopefully they get what the vibe was like. They get that, everybody was just slammed and had these jam-packed schedules because of that. And are willing to deal and, talk over the phone and via email and stuff like that to get things done.
Right. G, did you hear any of that?
Yeah, I'd say that I didn't go in with any real goals other than to facilitate networking and to get people to meet. So I accomplished that. So I didn't have any.
I would say job well done, G, because you did great this past week.
Yeah, I do agree.
Absolutely. And I mean, yeah, absolutely. So since you've already hit on it, I'm going to go ahead and jump to that. I know that Ghost and Clover smoke, and I know that G smokes. Mike does not. And I know that they had a lot of these. I know that all of them had appointments. I know that Ghost, Clover, and Mike all had appointments. It's what seemed every day, like all day. It was like they constantly had somewhere to be. But it was those chance encounters that y'all seemed to be the most excited about at points, though, which was pretty awesome. So do y'all want to share some of those?
I mean, I don't know if I want to necessarily share like so,
No, you
like
don't
the
have to
companies
share.
and all that.
No,
But
no.
I just wanted to say that I don't inhale like a Clinton.
oh, okay, I see how it is. Yeah. So you're like a half a smoker.
I just out there to stand there.
I tell you what, I guess what was so exciting for me with those chance happenings was not necessarily, that they happen, because they're going to happen, but they happen so frequently. And what was exciting is there were some really amazing relationships that I think all of us kind of started on the chance happening of bumping into somebody, or you're talking to their company and there is a booth next door that's kind of overhearing what you're saying. They kind of like what you're saying. Hey, man, you mind stopping? I'll talk to you about this as well. And there were just random meetings, whether it's outside or just literally bumping into people, but they've turned into relationships that could be awesome. So that's what's exciting for me.
I think one of the most exciting freak conversations I had was pretty much, I'd say out of 5, 4 of them turned out to be possible encounters that can lead to future endeavors. And it was just a matter of just genuine conversation, not trying to impress nobody, just being myself, and pass off a business card explaining what I'm doing, and then they ask the question, you answer the question, and it's, hey, we need to talk. Hey, email me, call me, or whatever the case may be. Just like the one encounter we all had with the gun cleaner. Just walk over to the guy, just start talking, and that led to other opportunities that we're going to talk about in future broadcasts and everything. But overall, like I said, I just believe, for me, the natural conversations of just running into people was better than the appointments that were set up.
Right. What about you, Clover?
What are we talking about? The chance encounter stuff?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I don't want to say, for me, it wasn't necessarily, I don't know. I used chance encounter, but honestly, it wasn't chance encounter. Let me tell you what it was. It was the willingness to, extend a hand and say, oh, you're from Texas, or oh, you're from Washington. What do you think about that new, 1169 legislation? Oh, well, what do you do? And just starting a conversation, and not starting it from, in a sense of walking into a booth and going, hey, I'm with media, and, I'm here, and I want you to give me some stuff, and I'll review it, and we'll have a relationship, and everything will be great. It was from a perspective of, hey, let's just get to know each other. Let's just, BS about some stuff. And inevitably, they would always turn around and reciprocate that and go, well, what do you do? And then I would tell them and open the door for me. And then I would tell them, oh, well, that's neat. Well, we should get together and do some stuff, So, yeah, just to kind of elaborate a little bit, I guess, on how those chance encounters happen. That was more so with me, how it happened, rather than somebody, necessarily seeing what I was doing and approaching me. It was kind of me approaching them, and then it opened the door.
Awesome. I know it was pretty cool, because just the fact that you smoke a pipe was kind of like a conversation starter.
A lot of times,
Yeah,
you're ashing on my foot.
Do what? Oh, there was 3 or 4 pipe smokers that showed up out there, so it was pretty interesting. All of them, I think the average age other than me was about 85.
You're talking tobacco pipe, right? Just kidding. Just
Tobacco
kidding.
pipe. Yeah, well, I couldn't be for sure what was in their pipe.
Well, I did see someone pretty famous rolling something on the street while I was out there, but
Right.
A ton of international people smoking, like way more. I would say 70% of the people out there were European or something. Like not
there was a ton of Swedish people. I don't know why. Maybe I didn't notice last year, but there's a ton of Swedish people smoking this week. I don't know where they came from.
I guess just more of them smoke, or else more of their gun industry smokes. And very few of us smoke, I think, anymore.
Well, I think that's
Yeah, Mike and
partly
I actually got wrapped up in an interview over with Alien Gear on their live stream. I was out smoking, and Wayne's like, "Hey, I want you to come on the internet on the thing." So me and Mike walked over there and got interviewed live on their stuff. So that was just because we were outside smoking too. So that was kind of strange.
Yeah, like I said, I think just hanging out on Smoker's Alley over there. That's what I called it when y'all went outside. I think that was the place to meet everybody at.
Yeah, Mike went out there for a few minutes with me one time. He started turning green. So I said, "Let's go back inside, bro."
Well, I asked Ghost,
and that was
first.
not that was not infantry green either.
Hey, infantry is blue. I think engineers are green or something like that.
Well, I know I had asked Ghost for a cigarette once, and we walked outside, and I was like, yeah, I don't think I need to smoke at all, because just the smoke out there was just so overwhelming that there were so many people out there.
Every time I went out there, I think every time I went out there, the ashtrays were on fire. Like they were just.
Yes, they were.
Smoke.
Then some people like dump their drinks or whatever, they dump them in there just to put out the fire. But yeah, I tell you one thing that happened with me and Armintha is Clover and I have been looking for a friend of ours that used to work for SAR all week. And me and Armintha go out to have a cigarette, or I go out to have a cigarette. Armintha goes with me. And who do we run into? We run into Frank. Now he's working with another company, but we wouldn't have run into him and wouldn't have known that he was with another company had we not gone out and smoked. So that was another good thing.
So I think part of it is that these people go on break to go smoke, and then the people, you know how it is when, I don't know, back when I was working at offices and stuff, the people that smoked were like a clique, I guess, because when you go on break, they went to smoke, and I don't know what the other people did because I went to smoke. So everybody who went to smoke would learn about all the gossip out there, and they would get promotions and stuff quicker, and a bunch of people, you know, there was always that like dynamic to it in a big office environment. So when you're in the booths and you're going to smoke and the other people are going to break, there's got to be some incentive to come back from break with a lead or with, you know, some production, you know, or, you know, having done some work. And same thing with you guys on the, you know, you guys are all on the clock. It's not like anybody's really taking a break at shot. So there's incentive for people to keep moving, right?
Yeah, I want to ask Armintha, now that you've gotten kind of a chance to make your way home and think about it, all that's happened last week. What are your thoughts after having been able to, I mean, like I said, after leaving and being away for a day or so and actually thinking about what happened this week? What were your thoughts about SHOT?
Day or so. They left yesterday morning. You barely got home today?
Well, we left around lunchtime. And so we got home, what, about 2 or 3 our time. So, I mean, it would have been like right at 24 hours-ish or so, I think. Of course, my husband's going to correct me.
That's it was not quite 24 hours. And then by the time you subtract the time difference, because you got 2 hours, you know, that were added, it was 21 hours. We made really good time coming back for sure. But we had several hangups, weather, and then there was a wreck we had to deal with and some other things going out there. I will say this, it was very, very miserable coming back. Going, there was excitement, you know, with it because you were going. And I guess you were kind of sort of rested because you were in your normal routine, you know, prior to going or whatever. Coming back, you were wore out from SHOT Show, and it's, you know, you were focused on, you know, I just want to get home. And it was, yeah, it was definitely, it was good that it was quicker because it was definitely miserable, in my opinion anyway.
I did pretty good, though. I did pretty good as far as the drive home. I know that's not the question that goes asked, and I'll get to that in a second. We took turns, you know, sleeping. We kind of broke it up differently this time coming home than what we did going out there. And for whatever reason, when we hit Tyler, which is about 50 miles or so from the house, when we hit there, I don't know what it was. My body just, it was like the way I get at night when I hit my tired mode. I mean, I just start dragging, and I was yawning, and I couldn't do anything. I didn't want to do anything. I get grumpy. I was just miserable. I just wanted to be home. And so, but shoot, then we get home and I could only nap for like an hour. And then I was up unloading the car because we'd already said, oh, we're just not going to do that till in the morning. No big deal. Yeah, I was already unloading the car and doing notes for the show tonight and just, getting back into my routine of things. So, yeah. But no, we hit right outside of Jacksonville. And like, heck yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Trees. It's East Texas. Yes, we're home. It was awesome. My take on this week and getting to look back and stuff. I see a lot of opportunity for me to do, or for us to do, some videos on women learning different things within the industry, which again is part of the opportunity thing, like the gun cleaner. The opportunity that we're going to have with him is going to be amazing, and just to kind of to stem even further from that, I can just see. It would be introduction videos. It wouldn't be anything that any of you guys would be interested in, but there's going to be a woman out there somewhere that her husband's been dragging her to all this crap, and she's going to be like, ugh, okay, so what is this about? I've got to start somewhere. I've got to learn this. She's not going to know the parts of a gun when she starts talking, or when somebody starts talking to her, or when they start talking to ammo, caliber, and all that. So she's going to be a lot like me, or a lot like us. And so I just see some opportunity there. And so I see opportunity for me to learn, for me to grow, for our channel to grow, for basic stuff that again, it may not interest you guys at all. But if you know a woman that you're like, oh, you're new to this, you don't really know this, but these ladies started there too. I see that being something that could be awesome. So
what you have to remember also is not everyone in the gun community thinks the same or have the same interests. I mean, me, G, Mike, and Clover, I mean, we're all good friends, but we all have different areas that interest us more than others. And that's the wonderful thing about having a lot of diversity within the gun community is you're going to have an audience that likes the same thing as you do. And it could be a different audience than all of us. And that's the beautiful thing is the more channels that are out there putting out different types of content, you're bringing more people from the gun community together. And that's a great thing.
So it's actually had my wheels turning. I'm one of those that, especially driving, while I drive, especially when my husband's asleep, or even when I was driving long distances to work and stuff, that's when I'd have the mic on my phone, and I would be, talking in and taking notes and stuff, because my phone, when Siri actually does what I'm telling her to do. But that's the best for me, where I'm able to really sit and think about what I want to do and all, and I start getting ideas, and then I'm able to even elaborate on that some more and kind of build off of that, and to be able to come up with something and grow from that. It's pretty exciting. So moving on from that, I'm going to kind of jump. Well, I noticed that Ashley kind of jumped in our chat. I know that she's driving though, because I had already messaged her. They are super, super busy, because I did invite them. But they are still, like I said, super busy on staying on task, doing their follow-ups and returning emails and things. Because I think we can all agree that this is a great group of people. I don't know that had any of us ever met actually met them other than to talk to them or whatever before this week?
G has, yeah.
G had met them before?
Yeah, I stopped by Salt Lake City, met up with them. They took me to dinner.
Oh, awesome. Right on. So
I'm
I
just
lost my
glad
train
that
of
I'm
thought
just
there.
glad they're back. I'm glad they're back to work because there's several things with Gunstreamer that I think that need to fix for me because I don't like the way it works. And they spending all that time at SHOT Show was hindering the progress on that. So if Ashley's out there, she
Ashley,
needs to
when he
tell
comes
Paul
in,
and Austin to get it done. I'm tired of waiting. You're through with SHOT Show. Let's get it done.
Yeah, I was
Ashley,
concerned also. It seems broken. None of my videos are showing up on the feature video on that top part.
Yeah, for some reason, I've got like 1,000 subs that's missing now too. So I don't know what happened there.
I'd tell you what's really disappointing is they're very terrible with time management because they never had time to really sit down and talk to any of us. They were just, it's like they avoided us all week, and they used the excuse that they were busy with meetings, but I don't buy it.
Who are we talking about? Because I got booted.
Oh, Gunstreamer. We're just messing with Gunstreamer.
Oh.
well, shoot, it took me what, 4 days to finally get a photo with them. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's after you paid him like $1,000 too, or something like that. You had like an appearance fee you had to pay or something to get a picture.
You
with
weren't
him.
supposed to tell people that.
Oh, my bad. I know that was a secret. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll play devil's advocate here that I do enjoy the fact that I had pleasant conversations with Gunstreamer, and every time I saw them, they shook my hand. There was no problems there. We even had muffins together for breakfast at one point in time. But outside of that, I do believe it was a great experience, even though y'all didn't have pleasant experiences with Gunstreamer.
I just don't like them. They're not very nice. They're just goodness gracious.
I'm okay with this muffin idea as long as there wasn't like a choice between donuts and muffins and they chose muffins. Then I'd be concerned.
There it is. Well, I apparently missed out on muffins with them or donuts with them, but it's because I was going live every morning. And of course I was showing everybody doing their thing in the background. So I kind of missed
you got trolled by Jeff several times pretty hard.
Yes. that morning was pretty awesome. I couldn't quit laughing. Earlier we were talking about the networking and stuff, and I wanted to bring that up, especially with Gunstreamer and stuff, because I know that everybody kind of has their own connections, and not even just with them, within you guys with each other, because we're say Ghost has this connection, but it's not really something that he's into. He would set Clover up with that person and vice versa. So for the networking, and I know I had talked about that during the week, it has been amazing to watch them work this network, and for them to be talking to this person, and then the next thing you know, they're talking, that person has set them up with someone else, and this has just been an amazing experience to watch them go through that. Any of y'all have anything to say on that? Yes.
I mean, yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to, and we've discussed this before, but like I said, we all have different interests. And if I was walking past a booth that I thought, oh, I think that, Mike or Clover would like, I'd try to take like a booth number, or next time I saw him say, hey, you need to go check this out. And then, like I said, we all have different interests, and that's part of being a solid group. Is we're looking out for each other, not just ourselves, and we're able to cover more of SHOT that way as well.
Right. Okay. So, let's talk photo ops since I kind of brought that up, since it took me a whole week to be able to get a photo with them. I've been watching Instagram, and I think selfies used to be just like a girl thing, I thought. But these guys have been...
Oh, no, they're still a girl thing. They're still a girl thing.
Are you sure? Because these guys have done more selfie pics this week than what I have.
I'm amazed at the amount of selfies that G took this week. That was phenomenal. Good job today this week, G.
The shot show selfie. It is a real thing.
Well, it is, and I think what people tend to forget is if you use it strategically, it actually. I mean, yeah, you're meeting some cool people and all that, but that gives you availabilities to tag and do different things that will help the social media reach of your channel or your project as well. So, giving opportunities to tag these people and their viewers are seeing that tag, which means they might find your channel or your, page or whatever. There is a little bit of science to it.
Yeah, it's not. At least for me, it's not about a whole fanboy thing, or anything like that. But yeah, Ghost is absolutely right. It's validating the fact that you were there at an industry event with other colleagues or people in the industry. So it helps to show solidarity, I guess, in a way that we're all there together. We all have met each other in person, or at least we try to as much as we can. That this is not just a digital space and just a faceless avatar, or something like that. That it's real people getting together and doing real things.
I'm not going to lie. I did fanboy a couple times. I fanboyed the hell out of Clint Smith, and I fanboyed with Haas. So I will take that. I will own that. But I fanboyed the hell out of Clint Smith for sure.
And what's really sad is I have no idea who either one of those are.
And that's okay.
Marines.
Ah, okay. Got it. That's why, like, when they were talking about selfie, okay. Doing the photo thing, I mean, I've done some photos and I've had some photos do really well on Instagram. Probably not as well as what some of y'all's have, but I didn't take a lot of, photos with celebrity, I guess, status type people because, first of all, when I'm walking, I'm probably not going to realize who they are until they've already passed me, and I'm not going to go run them down. And then there were two that I did see, like I said, the MMA fighter, but I don't even know who he is, so it didn't mean anything to me anyway. And then Lou Ferrigno, who, again, I mean, he's the older age of the Hulk, which I watched, but I mean, he's not the newer generation of it, so yeah, didn't really mean anything to me. So,
well, I had a more than a fanboy moment. It was more of a surprise, but I was looking at some stuff and I got a call. Hey, Mike. I turned around and there go Julie Galab standing right there in the place to be.
And she's one of the shooters, right?
Correct. She's the one that Ghost interviewed, and I think Clover either interviewed her or about to interview her. But I've always been.
Yeah, Julie's cool, and that was the first one I've ever seen Mike speechless. Just saying.
Yeah, so it was like I said, I actually fanboyed out, but I didn't jump around and do anything. I was just more reserved and quiet,
She was really bossy with me. I'm gonna play devil's advocate real quick because I don't know, maybe she just had maybe Mike fanboyed all over her so much.
She's not Irish, man.
It put her into defensive mode or something. But man, she was the second time I met up with her. She was pretty bossy. I mean, I walked up and I said, "Hey, didn't get a chance to actually talk with you yesterday." I said, "Or get a selfie." And I said, "So I wanted to do that real quick." And she's like, she pointed at me and she said, "We're going to do the selfie first." I said, "Yes, ma'am." Just be bossy.
Like her.
That's fine.
I like her.
So, but no, I haven't interviewed her yet. I want to bring her in. I was able to do, which is really awesome. Thanks to Ghost for that. By the way, don't know what Mike felt about the USA Shooting Breakfast, the Breakfast of Champions, but I made some amazing contacts there. That was part of the kind of deal where that's not necessarily, I guess, Ghost's thing, but he was gracious enough to let me tag along with that. And yeah, that's gonna make for an awesome series later on. We're gonna bring back next gen in a different perspective. And Julie, of course,
And one of them
will
was
be
from my
part of that
hometown,
too. Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot about that. But what Roe? Can't even remember. Like Roe something. Sorry,
Reynolds.
right, Roe Reynolds. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, he was just right down the road from Ghost, which was pretty amazing. And he was gung ho, and then um, yeah, Kim Rhodey and Marco and Alexis, and it pretty much covers the gamut there as far as Olympic medal winners, Paralympic medal winners, national champions, international champions. Um, yeah, if you ever wanted to meet them, they were in that room that morning. And what was really cool about it too is we sit down at the table and Ghost is we were like, hey, is these seats free? The guy sitting there was like, yeah, sure. And so we sit down and after it's all over, we get up and I'm like, hey, thanks for letting us sit down, shake the dude's hand. And, if anybody is familiar with the Olympics and competition and all of that stuff, you've heard of on shoots, I'm sure. And this dude was not just with on shoots, he was a on shoots. That was his last name. So it was pretty amazing that I was standing there shaking the hand of, a family member actually from on shoots. It was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Welcome, Sarge. Even though he's a little late, we're not going to fuss too bad.
He might arrest you if you do.
Hello.
I think he's a little far away from me right now, and I think his experience in Texas, he's probably not wanting to come back to Texas for a little bit. I think he got stuck in
part of that. It was cutting out.
She was saying that your experience with Texas wasn't good, so you might not want to come back to Texas anytime soon.
Who was that? Oh, Texas. I'm sorry. This is cutting out just a little bit. Yeah. It wasn't the state as much as it was the airplane. The windshield broke as we left. Did one of y'all throw a rock at it or something?
I don't think we were close enough.
I think the SHOT Show bug this year, the SHOT Show crud affected airplanes this year. I kid you not.
I will second that emotion.
Marco had issues. Ghost had issues. Sarge had issues. Jeff and them had issues. I'm trying to think. And I met 3 or 4 other people on the floor.
Yeah, Marco had the same issues going back. He has to wait till tomorrow now to get a plane back.
Yeah, it's
he's still having issues
that everybody's had. It's crazy. Kind of glad we didn't fly.
I almost had a giveaway there at the end. I left my camera equipment sitting on the floor in the parking garage.
Oh,
which would have been awful.
Oh yeah,
been there.
Yeah, some guy was yelling at me at the media room to come follow him running, and he said, I was like, "What's this big dude want me to go run for him?" Then I get out there, and I'm gonna tell you what, G's faster than he looks because I never found him. He's quicker. He's quicker than he looks.
He was there in like a heartbeat. He was there in a heartbeat. It was like, hey, where you at? I'm trying to tell him where I'm at, and I'm getting that all messed up. All of a sudden, there he is running. Like, let's go, because I have no clue where we're going.
He found his inner husky and was off, man.
Don't want to lose that coverage. That's bad enough losing a grand plus, but then you'd lose all that footage that you took. So.
Right. And Sarge, I promised that rock, it wasn't very big that I threw. It was just me being mad that you were getting to go home before I was.
Well, you did good. You hit the passenger side windshield of the plane. Because they
man,
all the exiting, I was like, that ain't no little crack. That's a big crack.
Ooh.
I've actually never heard of a plane's windshield breaking before. That's pretty incredible, actually.
Wow.
The pilot explained it. He said there's 2 windshields, and it's the outside. He's like, we can't take any chances. We're coming right back. Yeah, we were in the air. We were still ascending. He goes, we're going to go on back to Austin. Got a break in the window.
Well, I was wondering what you meant by. I was wondering what you meant by your post said. when I was in Austin both times, and I was like, well, maybe I'm just dumb, but I don't understand what that meant by both times. Now I understand.
I was just being vague. Southwest actually responded to my tweet of the picture of Texas, by the way.
What'd they say?
When I posted that picture of Texas afterwards.
So, Sarge, we were talking about the SHOT Show selfies. So, because I didn't realize my statement right before you jumped in, because I thought selfies was a girl thing. You know, girls took a bunch of selfies. I didn't take near as many selfies as all these guys did. So,
there you go.
It being your first year, did you get a bunch of photo ops with a lot of other people? And
I really think the only picture I'm in with people was at the get together. I think that's the only one I'm in with people, like where I stood for some photographs. Oh, and I got a picture in front of the van. I lied. I got two. I got a picture in front of the van.
Of course. We had to do that one. So, did anybody tell y'all no when y'all wanted to take photos? Did anybody tell you no?
Clover.
He's a fuddy-duddy.
Does that one really count, though?
Clover and Mike refused to have pictures with me, so I don't know. Maybe they just don't like short white guys.
Well, I mean, I'm a D+ list celebrity, and Ghost is a D-. So
that's true.
I can't afford to lose much. I mean,
and there are visual records of that
Yes.
That is on our live stream, by the way, from Friday. If y'all aren't getting that reference, so y'all check that out.
I don't get that reference. Someone help me out.
You're not missing much, Sarge.
So Ghost has been labeled a 2-bit content creator. Apparently this week he was upgraded to a D list.
I'm a D celebrity. So
right. And that's DEE because we can't spell D. So
that's correct. That's correct. Now I was trying to find a crayon to write it in, but that joke would have gone over people's head.
Couldn't find the right flavor.
Who came up with this official ranking?
I believe it was it was Gear Report, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it? Yeah, it was gearreport.com. So thanks, Jeff. Appreciate it.
Yeah. And those guys, it was awesome hanging out with those guys this week. You talk about a fun group, and I think Jeff said, Toby and Pickle, it was their first SHOT Show. TJ, it was his second, and then I forget how many Jeff's been to, but it's been several. But he was talking about that crew was by far the best Gear Report crew he's ever had there, and it showed because they were all upbeat. I mean, none of them, Pickle and Toby, for example, who was their first year, they never showed any signs of being overwhelmed, or anything like that. They were in good spirits and laughing and having fun, and that's what it's about. And ran into them many, many, many times out on the floor. They were running just as much as any of us, getting it done. So, slow clap for Gear Reports. They did a good job this week as well.
And they've been on my live streams this week too. They've been a hoot. I've really enjoyed them too this week. So.
Yeah, I just wish they weren't so like in a shell. Wish they let their personalities come out just a little bit more sometimes. That was a joke.
No, not at all. Okay, so we're gonna kind of switch gears just a little bit because I took a photo of like the oddest thing, what I thought was the oddest thing I had seen at SHOT Show. And it has gotten a lot of likes, but it's got like 20-something comments, which is the most comments on any of my posts. So before I talk about that, what is I don't know if y'all even noticed that, because I know each of y'all were so focused on your task. Did y'all notice anything that was like super odd, crazy, wild that you saw at SHOT Show that really sticks out in your brain?
There was a lot of odd things. I'll say that the most fun of all the pics that I took, the most fun, I don't know if it has the most comments or likes, but the most fun reaction was the picture that I took with the little RSR cart. And I said, ban the carts. That's been some interesting conversation on that post.
And that's something that I think we should push that in the future. That was ridiculous. And that's something that for those that, you know, maybe G, I guess G's the only one on here that can answer this question, but I would be interested in knowing, because compared to last year, especially on the 5th floor on Wednesday, the ratio of carts to people was like 4 carts for every 5 people. I kid you not. It was crazy. It was insane. I'm wondering if we're seeing more carts now, or if that's just a bad year to year. Do you know how that has panned out, G?
Well, let's look at the ratio. If you want to talk ratio, 60,000. They said there was 2,400 media this year. So 2,500. They said last year, 2,400 this year. I don't know if they cut it down or we didn't show up. But what's 60,000? What's the ratio there of 2,000 of us? 2,500. So we're media. We're there to tell people about that show, but we're not the focus of that show. And the supplier showcase is for people who are either getting manufacturing done, bringing them samples, taking home samples, and they get 1 day pretty much during the show. So I'm not going to say nothing about those carts. Those carts are there for old people and people that are carrying heavy stuff, and that's an industry show. I get out of the way of the carts, and I say, excuse me, when I bump into people's carts. I'm not going to eat our own.
There you go. Well, I wasn't talking about the supplier showcase. I've seen less in the supplier showcase than I did on the Wednesday for the pop-up review.
And then when you talk about RSR and whoever, that RSR is a distributor. So shop like Bob, Tucson Guns, he can't buy enough guns from Glock to be on their radar. So he has to go to a distributor who can buy enough guns from Glock to be on their radar. They have to talk to gun shops like Bob to know how many he's going to buy so that they can make a bulk order with Glock. You know, they have some experience so they can make some kind of bulk order, but you know, they're doing business at the show. So that's why RSR provides those carts to gun shops. So the people walking around with carts are gun shops. That's the only people dealing with RSR. Glock doesn't need carts. The reason they have carts is because gun shops are either flying or driving in, and they're picking up brochures, they're picking up swag, they're picking up t-shirts, they're picking up stuff that they can give to people for their Walther giveaways. So their carts are so that they can carry stuff back and forth to their cars or their hotel rooms so that they can take stuff back to their shops and stay in business. So again, we're a percentage of what the industry is there. I get out of the way of carts. I understand people getting confused, you know, annoyed by them or whatever, but old people are allowed to go to SHOT too. They run the businesses, they run the industry. I'd rather not complain about them. They're just a piece of it. You know, there's other things we can complain about too, but I complain about the foreigners, right? But they're probably part of the industry too. I'm sure that international sales are necessary for companies to exist. We're big, but we're not the whole world. So, you know, there's probably a reason that there's a bunch of people walking around suits being weird. I don't want to put a wet towel on it, but I mean, it's the industry. That's what we're there for.
It's a very good point. So is that the same take as the folks that are walking around, say, with the big suitcases and things too? You think they're kind of doing the same thing, or?
Could be, and they just want to, you know, have something different, or maybe they've got a product that they're bringing in to show somebody, or a gun, or I don't know. There's probably a million things. One of the things I do is snoop around, see what's going on. You know, you happen to see somebody opening up a suitcase, look what's in there. It might be a robot or something cool in there.
Interesting. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we saw a robot. Was it Antares or Range Day? I think that's Antares. I think we saw the robots walking, driving around.
I've been watching the development of the little robots they throw into buildings like SWAT. Maybe some kind of special operations teams will throw stuff in to check out bombs or check out bad guys in a building or something before humans go in, or a dog even. So those little robots that look like balls or cans of coffee sometimes, and they run around with cameras. And I first started seeing those in 2008, so I kind of been watching the development of those, and they're crazy with those little just like droids on
So okay, so aside from the carts that I have heard them fussing about, anything else? Anything else that y'all saw that was a little wild, a little crazy, a little different, maybe?
Did you see the guy walking around with a full fur coat, like from the 30s or the 20s or whenever people wore those full length fur coats that were real fur? And then he had like red.
I didn't see that. I didn't see that.
He had like a Fat Albert hat, a giant. I thought it was a bear costume or that Yeti guy from the media day, but it was just some old big fat guy, giant fat guy, wearing like this giant fur coat that went all the way down to his feet, and then he had like red shoes on.
Kind of like a pimp daddy?
Yeah, but no, like somebody from Europe.
Was it the Technicolor dream coat?
No, he wasn't. I mean, at first I thought like, what is this? Like, oh, what's he promoting? But no, it's just some guy. That was just his coat. But it was crazy.
I did see a man and a woman every day. They're probably in their 70s, probably. And every day, the man dressed up like in Wild West cowboy, and she dressed up like a tavern singer from like the 1890s. I mean, they had different costumes every day, and I don't know if they were at a booth or they were just that's how they went to SHOT Show. I'm not real sure.
Just walking, yeah. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if folks are like, like the Miklik of the olden days, and like we just don't know who they are. But they do.
That could be.
Walking around in their garb.
Did you guys see the guy with like the robe of patches?
Yeah.
I didn't see that one.
Like shooting clubs and shooting events and, like IPSC from like the 70s or I guess the 90s or whatever.
I didn't see that one either. Man, I missed a lot.
There's usually a couple of those. They'll hang out in like the front, the big booths in the main lobby and just hang out with like all the name brand guns.
Maybe they came through when I was hiding in the corner. So, that being said, so I put a photo out there, because I was walking through the dungeon and there's this rack of fish, and I'm looking at them and I'm trying to figure out what they are, and they look like they're slides, or like they're not flip-flops because they don't actually go between your toes, but they're like house shoes. They're fish for your feet. And I was thinking, who would wear these?
Well done, Sarge.
What? Well done.
That's what they are.
He said fish flops.
They are ridiculous. Oh my gosh. I realize that there's a market. I know that. But of all the things I saw, I mean, wow. I mean, I was just, wow. Just no. Okay, so if nobody else has got anything on that, we'll move on. Since this is Gun Gals, let's kind of talk about women in the industry, because I'm still new enough that I don't know, and I've seen a lot of women in the media room. I've seen a lot of women on the floor. I've seen women in the booths. It's been
they allow them in SHOT Show now.
Well, when did that start? At what point did they integrate? I'm a little curious.
You got to meet a couple of big players also.
It started this year. I think about Wednesday they finally broke down.
Wednesday they let us in?
Yeah, I think that
Wednesday
at
lunchtime, but you must have snuck it early.
Well, yeah, I think a few snuck in early, but officially they were supposed to be there. They were going to let women in just on Wednesday from 12 to 1. And what happened is a bunch of them ended up either sneaking in or they stayed late. They just didn't enforce that rule of no women allowed. So we've got to petition that. But no, seriously, I had several people that I talked to. We were talking about demographics and stuff like that, and they were talking about the female demographic and the presence at SHOT Show and how it's from year to year it just gets more and more, and that's keeping in trend as well with the industry overall, not just with from the creator side, but with organizations and manufacturers and dealers and all of that. You're having more and more, I don't know, I guess you could say female entrepreneurs or something. I went down, one of the coolest things that I've seen was the the lever action 458 SOCOM that I went down and look at. And while I was down there, all they had was female owned business, and the gunsmithing, the whole night, it's all done by them. Not like they own it and they have a bunch of dudes picking out the products. I mean, they're the ones doing the work, and it was pretty cool because not only I went down there to look at that, and then they had invented their own cartridge and built a custom rifle around that, the 475 Bishop Short Magnum. So yeah, there's a lot of examples like that I keyed in to with this show and picked up on, and it was both interesting and encouraging.
Yeah, you got to meet some of the big dogs too. I mean, hanging with Cheryl Todd is I mean, she's pretty big in the industry, and she was around the media room quite a bit. So I think you got to spend some time there, didn't you, Armintha?
Actually, I never actually met her.
I thought you did.
No, the closest I got to her was when I was trying to help you do your Instagram stream.
Oh, well, you should have said something.
Well, I did go ahead and find, I can't even remember the name of it now, but her radio station. I did find that. I've got that in my favorites on my phone now. Help me out. What is it? What's the name of it, guys?
Gun
Freedom Radio. I'm sorry. Yeah, go ahead, G.
Gun Freedom Radio.
There you go. Gun Freedom Radio. I did go ahead and, because she started following Gun Gals on Instagram, and she started following that guy's wife on Instagram. And so, which I returned that. And then I went ahead and looked up the link, and it's set in my phone that way, because that's where the interviews that she's done with some of you guys will end up being. So I look forward to that, and trying to go back and learn some more about some of her past interviews and stuff too. So that's pretty interesting.
G was on there not too long ago, I believe.
I'll have to look for that one too. That's awesome. And I know that they did. I know she sat down with Gunstreamer too. So that's one I'll be looking for also. So I know that, like, one of my chance encounters with CMMG, I got to talk to one of the females that owns that company, and I know that they have a female that's in their tech support, and they actually, I mean, they were talking to me about some of that when guys, especially older guys, call and they have questions or something, they get a little snippy, guys do, like, do you have a guy that I can talk to, because they don't want to. It's still hard for women in this industry. So it's real promising for me to, as a newbie, seeing all these women, it being my first year. So that was pretty awesome. And I've heard y'all talk about it being more and more women each year. So let's see. Moving on. Let's see. Missed opportunities. Did any of y'all have what you might consider a missed opportunity? I know that y'all didn't get to go to it like an appointment. Y'all may have missed out on something, but what one that you really, really wanted to do, something that you would consider like a missed opportunity?
I don't think I had anything. There's some minor disappointments that's going to happen, I guess. But anytime you're busy like that, and you have a limited number of hours and a limited number of days. But at the time, I think if you'd asked me that during the week on any given day, I probably could have given you an answer. But having a little bit of time to reflect on it, no, not really.
Okay. What about you, Ghost?
I really I can't think of anything. I mean, there was it was such a productive and crazy week that it would be very difficult for me to find something that I feel like we missed out on, because even if there was something that we missed out on, we gained so many things that were unexpected, that were so much over the top, that it kind of just shadows anything that, even if I could think of something.
That's an awesome way to look at it. I love that. How about you, Sarge?
I was a little reserved. I started making contacts as it went on because I didn't want to kind of like, I don't know, I didn't want to overextend myself to start with, because that was my first trip there. But I gained a lot of knowledge that really the sky is the limit for us. We can make as much or as little out of this as we want to. But there's a lot of opportunities, and I'm not going to say missed opportunities. I just took it slow, and I'm going to start working my way into this. It was a very good learning experience.
Okay. How about you, Mike? Because this was Sarge's first year, Mike's first year, my first year. So a bunch of first year folks here today.
Yeah, I won't say I frowned upon anything like a missed opportunity, because there was a couple instances, like I said, just walking up to people, talking to them, and I think that shadowed anything that you can possibly look at as a missed opportunity. So it balanced itself out, and end to end.
Okay, awesome. And G, I don't know that you.
Well, I sat there and talked to Alan Gottlieb for like a half an hour or something, and I forgot to ask him when the gun rights policy conference is, like what the dates are. Kicking myself.
Is that not
Are you sleeping well enough at night, G?
Well, it's annoying because I can't do the calendars until I know.
Is that on their website?
No, they say it'll be available in spring. Like we got to wait. Like everybody's just going to wait till spring.
I would imagine that Cheryl or someone would know, because they got to start planning AmCon and all that,
Yeah, see, I forgot to ask her too. So there you go.
Okay. So, was there anything? Well, I'm going to skip over that. Okay. So, and I've heard Sarge talk about this, and so I'm going to open this up after I bring it up. We as a community, the gun channels group, the gun streamer group, we talk about being a family and stuff. But we always think of each other. We call each other family, but we're most of us have never actually met each other. You're doing this from the other side of the computer, the other side of your phone or whatever. And then us getting together in person and actually meeting each other. Did any of you actually think that you could care, that you would believe that this would be what you would call part of your family? Getting into this at first.
I know when I started this, I would have thought it was a very odd concept that I could talk to people all around the country on either right now my phone, but the internet, computer, all around the country on a regular basis, and consider them friends. And I just never thought that was going to be possible, but it is possible. And so I was very happy to come meet everyone this week. I wouldn't have thought this a while ago. I'd have said you're crazy, but it's true. We get to know each other and go through this adventure together and care about each other. It was very interesting, and I'm glad I got to go and meet everybody in real life.
Right. How about you, Mike?
I was very happy to actually meet everybody face to face, and for instance, like just talking to people that you normally talk to, especially when we do the shows and the after chats. So I was very appreciative of that. I was also appreciative of the fact that everybody who I spoke with was giving me a little bit of insight about what to expect at SHOT Show. And I think without that insight, it would have been so overwhelming with me. It wouldn't have been as great as it was this first time going there.
And so I swear. Go ahead.
I was going to say, so with that being said, I want to give thanks to everybody who, Ghost, Clover, G Webs, KD, and there's a few other people, Ken Blanchard, that all gave me a little bit of insight of what to expect at SHOT Show and how to properly prepare.
Awesome. Now, I swear Ghost and Clover are like brothers anyway. So, and sometimes I think they talk to each other more than what Chris talks to me. So, what about y'all? Either one of you?
I mean, yeah, we've talked about this a lot.
Clover talks to Ghost more than he talks to me also.
Does he really? It's kind of crappy, isn't it?
You know, it's one of those where, I mean, and I've said before, you know, Clover, G, and Mike and Sarge and everyone that do this thing that we do. And yeah, you get to know, and Jessie, and I've met Jessie. I have not met Stacey yet. I'm looking forward to meeting Stacey. But, you know, we get to do these things and you get to know these people and you become much more than just, you know, peers on the internet. You become friends and you do become family. You know, Mike and I, for like the last couple of months, talk like several times a day working on this project and all of that. And until last Sunday, we had never met each other, you know, so it's just one of those things where I think that there are, you know, when you spend enough time as much as we do around you guys and everybody else, you know, it goes past being peers and all that. And it almost sometimes goes past being friends. You know, there are some people that I have met through the YouTube thing that are genuinely part of my inner circle. And, you know, some of you guys know that my inner circle is extremely small. So, yeah, it's kind of weird that, you know, you meet people through different avenues in your life, and it's just awesome.
Right. What about you, Clover?
No, I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty much been said. I mean, you've got, you know, it's interesting. You've got several dynamics. I mean, let's talk about it being compartmentalized a lot, and you know, there's always a place, I think, for pretty much everybody. Everybody kind of has their place in my little world, and you've got those that share your exact same interests, you know, and that's where you connect and where you're sort of friends. And then you've got those that may not share your interest, and Ghost falls in this category, I think, with me. We really don't share the same interests. I mean, I could give two craps about training, really, and he could give two craps about a lever action rifle or a revolver, in a way. But we think alike, and our creative ethics, I guess, or whatever, is sort of the same. And it's kind of scary with us a lot of times, because he'll put out something and he'll publish something at the same time I'm working on the same darn thing, you know, and I do the same to him pretty regular, and we haven't even talked about it. Yeah, and then you've got, like I said, other ones out there that, you know, it's just a different situation because you've got stuff in common, so you talk more shop, you know, with that person. And then you got people like G that is an invaluable resource. I mean, just with the years being, you know, on this side of the camera, so to speak, and you know, seeing how the technology has evolved and stuff like that, it's great to pick his brain and get his feedback. And sometimes he's a little harsh on everybody. He gets that way, but you know, it's coming from a good place when he does it, and the feedback that he gives is always valuable. So, yeah, everybody, you know, go back to what I said when I started. Everybody, you know, has their place in the family or the community, and that dynamic is great. I mean, it works out really well.
Right. I can say for me this week, I mean, I've met Ghost, one other time, I think.
Yeah, Wanamaker last April.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, just once. And then G-Webs, I'd met him in Wanamaker last year. And that's it. But Mike and Sarge, this was my first time meeting them. But, you know, I didn't get to spend as much time with Sarge, but Mike and Ghost, I mean, G-Webs would do the same thing, I'm sure. If I called them or anything, if I text them, and in fact, they fussed at me for not, if I need anything or something was going on, they would be there to help me no matter what, which is amazing. It's strange and foreign to me, but that people that don't really, that I feel like that, because we haven't really spent that in-person time, care enough about me to make that extra effort. If there's something going on, that they're going to take that time to make sure I'm okay. Like, I hung out with Ghost a little bit, and I walked around with Mike and Ghost over the weekend with Antares and a little bit at Range Day. So that was pretty awesome. So y'all really amazed me. So I think that's really awesome. So thank you for that, by the way. Thank you. Bringing up the end of Shot, we kind of talked about, how excited we were to get home. And we know that everybody had like some really bad experiences. I think the only one that didn't, Mike, you didn't have any really bad travel experience. He was the lucky one, right?
No, I didn't have anything negative. Even if it was something negative, me, I try to turn it around to be a positive, so I don't dwell on negativity.
I love this guy, by the way, because
he's completely full of crap, right? I'm just saying.
I don't know that he had said not a single negative thing in front of me the entire week. I can't think of anything. That's just amazingly awesome. Especially for my morning person attitude, every day's a new day, sunshine and rainbows. I think that's awesome. So, but I know Ghost had a pretty traumatic, I know that we've talked about this, but we're going to kind of hit on it again, because I can't remember, did you have an odd experience getting back home?
Getting back home?
Yeah, you didn't have any mishaps or rerouting or?
No, not coming home. I did going up there, but it was interesting. I had a 3.5 hour layer that was already scheduled in Denver. And then as we were getting ready to board the plane, they found out that our plane was broken and had to get a new plane come in from San Diego. So we had another 3.5 hour layover, which upset me for a little bit until I realized that I'm in a room in a terminal for basically 7 hours with a bunch of people going to SHOT Show. And at this point, we all kind of had, there's about 20 of us there. All had this aha moment. And so we all started pulling our business cards. We all started talking to each other, trying to figure out who everybody was. So I told Clover and Mike and G that I was like, SHOT Show started for me Saturday night, because once everyone realized we got 3.5 more hours and we're all going to SHOT Show, we might as well start networking. And so that was kind of cool,
Right on. That's part of that turning it into a positive. I like it. So, and Sarge, did y'all have any issues coming out? I know that you said that y'all had a cracked window trying to get home.
Going out was fine. It was a little bumpy on the way out there, but I ended up having to sit in the absolute last row of the plane because it was packed. But it was fine getting out there. There's one guy that had it worse than me. He had to sit in the very back with the stewardesses. He had to sit in that little jump seat back there. So one guy had it worse.
Well, he probably flew for free, though.
Probably. And then, I would like very back. And I got hit with somebody's bag yesterday on the way out. Somebody hit me in the head with the bag as they were walking through the aisles. I was like, oh, gosh. I showed some restraint. I was not happy. But it's okay.
I tell you what really upset me going. I did have something traumatic, very traumatic, happen to me on the way home. So American Airlines has in front of the headrest in front of you, you can watch movies and stuff. And I got into a movie and it was really, really good. And right at like towards the end of the movie where I was trying to figure out what was going to happen, they cut it off because they were going to land. So that was pretty traumatic. I didn't get to finish the movie.
Oh man.
Did you watch it on Netflix since then?
It's not out yet. That's the thing. I've got to wait about another month for it to come out. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. It was called Mile 22 with Mark Wahlberg. It was a pretty good little run and gun shooting movie. And right before I found out what happened at the end, they cut it off. So we're getting ready to land. I'm like, you like put it on for 5 more minutes? Come on, guys. They said,
Come on, circle around.
Yeah, do we have a cracked windshield or something? We can go circle around for a minute.
Well, I can actually tell you that the way it ends, it leads to a part 2.
Oh, so have you seen it?
Yeah,
So it's a good movie, right? I'd never heard of it before, and I was like, "Oh, that sounds pretty good. I'll watch it." And so, I'm glad you got to see it. Great, good job.
It was pretty good. Matter of fact, we can watch it one day. I'll share it with you over live stream or something.
I gotta wait like a month or so before it comes out on Amazon Prime or something.
Well, he was just making date plans with you, Ghost.
Those are supposed to be private, though. Damn it!
All right, so unless y'all have something else, I know that there have been some questions throughout the chat. I believe Jessie and Stacey have been writing those down, so I'm gonna let them kind of do those.
Stacey, you want to ask yours first?
Yeah, I'll ask the couple more are all in the chat, but gun-loving Grandpa Stanley says, what do you guys think of the rifle that they're using for the world record?
Oh, yes. I'll tell you, I'll start off on that one. That was awesome to actually sit down and talk to those guys, Charlie Mike Precision, and to actually hear that he set the world record with one rifle. They made a second rifle and to try to beat it again. It was awesome how they actually walked us around, gave us the story of why they're doing it, what they're going to do, talked about the pieces that it takes to shoot that far, and then allowed us to shoot that same rifle that he's going to shoot, the 6,000 yards with. It was totally awesome. And what you think would take place with that rifle, I can actually say the recoil on that one was less than a 308. So it was great to shoot that.
Yeah, for me, it was awesome. Not just not to fire that weapon, but to be around Charlie, who, is a SEAL and is obviously a world-renowned shooter. But the rifle was incredible. Like you said, there was hardly any kick into it. I mean, it was incredible for someone that's going to reach out and touch 6,000 yards. But the cool thing about it is they used a round that he helped design called the 408 Tejas. And I believe he said that he's only shot that round 8 times. And so, the 4 of us that shot that were among like the first 10 or 15 people ever to shoot that round before. And it's not out in public yet. So that was kind of cool to hear about how the design of that round and the ballistics that go into that round. So you're talking about a round that's not public yet and a rifle that's going to break the world record at 6,000 yards. And that's a lot to wrap your head around. And it was just like, he was like, oh yeah, come on, let's go shoot it. And you're like, what? And he was like, yeah, he went over to the trailer, pulled it out, and he was like, let's go shoot this thing. So it was pretty remarkable. That was a joy.
Oh yeah, because the guy shot it, and then they were talking and stuff, and I walked up to him, and I was like, okay, so why did the guys get to shoot it and I didn't get to? He's like, because you didn't ask. I was like, well, okay, I want to shoot it. And so I get down there and all, and oh man, you wouldn't realize his background and credentials and stuff. And somebody else had mentioned that because he was just so patient with me, talking me through it, what I needed to do and what was going to happen and where my focus needed to be down at the end of the range, and which was so amazing because I flipped that target. I hit the target and it flipped. It was awesome. And even above that, though, the contact that we were able to make, because I don't know that that encounter might have happened exactly the way it did had we not been talking to the gun cleaner first, who actually walked us down there and introduced us to them.
Well, I think we would have found Charlie, obviously, because we would have gone down there, but we wouldn't have spent an hour and a half with him. And, like Mike said, we'll talk about this in later shows, but the things that are going to happen because of that meeting and spend an hour and a half with him would not have probably happened to the gun cleaner, because the gun cleaner walked us right to Charlie and was like, hey, these are friends, and boom, next thing you know, we're having this amazing hour and a half conversation with him.
Right.
Can I take it back to the rifle? If y'all remember, and for the people who don't know, it was a female with us from the Women's Defense Network named Brenda Osborne. And she actually shot that rifle also. Now, the one thing about Brenda is only 3 apples high, so Ghost is actually taller than her. But in the same breath, she only weighs about a glass of water. And she shot this rifle, and you can actually see the recoil go through her, which was minimal. So, like I said, that actually talks great lengths of the precision and the technology that they put into this rifle.
Awesome. It was awesome. Okay, what do we got next?
Bad Sexy asked in the chat, any new items at SHOT Show that y'all found interesting as far as slings and things like that?
And Terrace, Mike and I actually met up with a guy named Neil McLean, and he's got a new sling that we're going to have on the show in a couple of weeks, and it's pretty awesome. And the McLean sling. So I don't know if Mike want to talk about it or not, but I mean, it was a pretty cool sling. It goes from a 2-point to a 1-point very, very quickly, very, very smoothly, to be able to get you to do whatever you need to do with that rifle. So the McLean sling, McLean, I believe. Yeah.
So the one thing about this sling is, when you look at it from the other slings that are out there, and even the one sling that I did a product review on, the Haley Strategic Sling, is they took a simple concept and made it more beneficial for you to actually apply and not really think about for like a soldier. So even if you're running competition, you're under the stress of the clock. So this can work either for competition or real world applications. But it was just a simple concept of how you apply it. And like I said, once they actually send it to us and we get our hands on it and bring them on the show and talk about it more, I'm not going to ruin it for everybody, but it was just something that should have been in place a couple years ago when we started going into foreign countries with this war.
Okay. Anyone else know anything about any slings or anything that you want to talk about?
I saw one whole thing before. Strike Industries makes some, I guess they would be called quick release, or these AR handguards that come off in just like a couple seconds and have a quick adjust gas block. That was very, very cool. If you get to check them out, I got to put up a video on them later, but that was one of the things I thought was very unique. Comes off in just a few seconds, the handguard. So, but I appreciate the invite, and I have to go make a lap at my side job.
Okay. Thank you for stopping in and joining us tonight.
Take care, Sarge.
Yeah. Thank you.
Take care, Sarge.
All right. See you guys.
Okay.
Remember your camera.
Okay, ladies. What else we got?
All right, this one's for you, Armintha. Georgia Trucker. He says, hey, Tomahawk, did rain today spike an interest in AR shooting?
It actually did. And I can't remember the name of the company. So that's one of those things. I haven't dropped my video with that one yet. I know that we did one with at Terrace, but I also got to shoot one at Industry Day at the Range, or a Media Day at the Range.
Was that the full auto?
Yes.
That was the Soul Invictus.
Yes, the Soul Invictus. And I have not dropped that video yet, but it was sweet. That eventually, and that's part of me talking about things that could come out of all this, that eventually I could see me getting with my husband and us together, building me eventually my own AR. Pretty pink and black. It'd be awesome.
You mean Fire Engine Red?
Yes,
Oh
that's
my
what I meant.
God! Just stop! Just stop!
What? Huh?
Stop! Just out there to cause problems, bro.
Okay, so if y'all aren't getting that, Mike wears these Tiffany blue ear pros, right? That he swears
Tiffany
are
blue. Even you had Venture Gear telling you it was Tiffany blue.
No, Andy told me it was infantry blue.
He was just scared of you. That's why he said that.
No, I don't know why. I'm a very lovable guy, so nothing to be scared of.
Yeah. Let me just go ahead and tell y'all though that they match the Tiffany blue that's on my eye protection. I'm just saying they match perfectly. So anyway, okay. So what else we got out there?
I don't see any questions really out there, but unknown user funny comment about one of the pictures, and I just had to share it with y'all. It said, I saw a pic of Mike with Clover, Ghost, and Armintha, and he said that it looked like Mike had answered an ad for a babysitting job.
That's so messed up. True, but messed up.
That's pretty funny right there.
Mike and I actually took a picture. I can't remember who it was with, but who we took a picture with. There was like 4 different heights. We called it the Verizon bar. Which one was that? Do you remember that one?
That was Clint Smith. That was
Clint. Yeah, with Heidi. Yeah, with Heidi. We did like the Clint, the wireless bars. It was pretty funny.
Well, to be honest with you, if to let who you said that
unknown user.
Unknown user, yeah. So to be honest with you, unknown user, if anybody was on babysitting detail, I would honestly say it would have to be Brenda, because Brenda was the one that was making sure I drank water. Telling me like, hey, look at this, and I was overlooking a lot of stuff. So if it wasn't for her, pointing me like in a direction, so she was the one that was actually the lead of the babysitting.
Brenda was cool. I really enjoyed spending time with Brenda. She's awesome.
Yeah, Brenda is cool. Yeah.
She was super awesome, because I ended up hanging out with Ghost and Mike at Antares because Clover really had a lot of stuff that he needed to get done, and so I was kind of a tag along. And Brenda she just grabbed me and she's like, okay, let's go do this. And she would be just like, she'd take a picture and she's like, come on. I mean, she was just awesome, just including me and stuff, and I just love her for that. She was awesome, so awesome. So
yep, I love her already.
The babysitting photo though, the one they're talking about, if you haven't seen it, it is the 4 of us standing in front of the van at the front gate of range day, media day at the range. And Mike, because he stands so much taller than us, and of course I'm the shortest one, but trust me, Ghost and Clover don't stand much taller than I do. Maybe an inch. It's not much.
Doesn't Clover look like he's up to something in that picture? Right, the picture I'm thinking.
He always looks like he's up to something.
I was just about to say, there wasn't a lot of photos out there that Clover didn't look like he was up to something.
Let me. This is inside information. I'm going to give everybody out there. It's reveal time. This is a well-kept secret. This will be the public announcement here. I'm always up to something. Okay.
It's the glasses. I promise y'all. It's the glasses. That's what it is. It's the glasses.
There is a couple more questions.
Okay. What you got?
One is for Clover, just from Guitar Man Pete. And it just says, ask Clover about Diane or Marissa Bishop.
Oh, they're awesome.
Oh, the Bishop, yeah.
Yeah, they're good people. I don't know what he's getting at, but I had some controversy on the Instagram post weeks ago when I first posted that, and somebody said, that company's owned by a woman and her lover, right? And I'm like, so? And your point is, because this is awesome, and I really don't care if it was built by a lizard person on the fourth ring from the fourth ring of Uranus. But whatever, it's cool is cool, regardless of who built it. And we're talking about the farm industry, so who cares about sexual orientation and all of that? They knew their stuff. The innovation, they wouldn't let me take pictures of the bolt on the bolt face and all that on the 458 SOCOM. And the reason is that it required so much machine work and figuring out how to make it work with a rebated cartridge head that, obviously they didn't want that out there. And I asked before I did it, and they quickly told me no. And I said, okay, completely understand. Because when I opened it up and took a look inside and looked at that bolt, I was like, oh my God, this is freaking amazing. It looks nothing like a Marlin bolt. It's not even close. Looks nothing like a standard lever action bolt that you would see. And I'm like, wow. And there's some other stuff going on internally on that rifle as well. And all of them figured that out. I mean, they figured that out. So, yeah, as far as their, I don't know, their ingenuity, I guess, and their prowess as far as machining skills and stuff like that, they're legit. There's no doubt. So, like I said, I don't know where he was going, if he was kind of going off of that Instagram post where it wasn't necessarily made a big deal of, but I don't think it should have ever even been on the radar or come into play. But yeah, it really doesn't make me a flip either way. They're awesome ladies, or I don't know. I don't want to.
And they made a 458 SOCOM lever action. How awesome is that, by the way?
Right, and I don't want to label anybody. I sort of feel bad sometimes in this day and age because I grew up saying ladies and ma'am and that sort of thing, and sometimes I guess they could get offended, but they seem like good people, and I don't think that anything, if I did say ma'am or something like that, thank you ma'am or something, I don't think they would have been offended because they definitely spent time with me. I was I was important for stopping by. I felt like they, there's some booths that you walk up, and I know my wife had that experience with the one where they just kind of dismiss you, right? Whether they're looking for certain people or they're kind of in their own element or doing their own thing or whatever. And we can blame a lot of things on that. We can blame, and I know I'm going off the rails, but that question that Pete posed does lead into another one. Once I get to talking about booths and stuff that dismiss you, was in the UTOS booth, and I was waiting on Frank. Frank was coming back, and needed to say bye to him and actually talk some business before I left. And was kind of waiting on him. So I was just cutting up and goofing around with the other guys there in the booth. And there was 4 or 5 people that walked into the booth, and, they were taking everything off the wall and off the rack and playing with it and oohing and ahhing and all this. And the guys, spent time with them, a little bit of time with them. And they were all guests. They were all exhibitor guests. And they were there just to oogle over stuff and walk around, and it's one of them situations which I know gets aggravating, probably looking at it from a different perspective, looking at it from the perspective of the actual booths and stuff that are there. When you've got people that are not technically industry people, they just come in and get to oogle over everything, and nothing's going to come out of it. It's not a promotional partnership. There's not a business deal that's going to come out of it. Those people probably aren't going to go home and recommend it to 100 different friends or something like that, or necessarily even tell anybody that they've seen it while they were there. And so that's no excuse for them to dismiss anybody in the booth. But part of me sort of sees how that can certainly play a factor. But no, those 2 ladies spent all the time in the world with, spent more time really than I was even interested in. They got really, really technical with both of those rifles, the 458 SOCOM lever and the 475 Bishop short mag, and then another the 475 Bishop in the AR-10, as well as the bolt version. And then once that was done, actually sent me over to the booth, and I'd have to pull a card to even know the name of the company, but all of the triggers they use are built by this other company, and phenomenal triggers. Had a 6-ounce trigger on that on that
Did you say
475.
6-ounce?
6-ounce trigger on that 475 Bishop short magnum. Yeah, it said it would go down to 2 ounce, as a matter of fact, but it was set at 6. And yeah, I articulated it and played with it 3 times, just 3 or 4 times, trying to find the trigger wall right before it breaks. And you're talking about somebody that's shot competition rifles. I'm used to, 6, 8-ounce triggers and stuff like that. And, I never could get a handle on the trigger wall on it. It was that doggone smooth and light. Now, don't get me wrong. They sent me one to play with, and I had ample time out on the range. I would get the trigger wall figured out. But yeah, definitely the mark of a great trigger. It's when it surprises you when it goes off, and that one will surprise you when it goes off. It's that light.
Awesome. Okay.
All right. The next one is from Seven Wonders. And he was wondering about Ruger. Are they releasing anything new or a different caliber carbine?
I didn't go see Ruger, but I can tell you that my experience with a lot of the companies on range day and in a terrace, there were a lot of different carbines coming out. Obviously, 10 millimeter was a big one. You saw a bunch of those. Then you saw some carbines were coming out, and some Magnum calibers, 357 Magnum and 44 that are interesting concepts for carbines. So I would imagine that Ruger kind of always being among the leaders of that innovation. I would imagine they would, but I honestly didn't stop by Ruger.
Anyone else? Did anybody else stop by Ruger?
I didn't even see Ruger, but they wasn't on my radar. The only Ruger I seen out there was when we were shooting that rifle at Antares. They had one over there because they said they do custom work and they gutted and put all custom aftermarket stuff in it. But as far as talking to a rep or seeing anything Ruger, I didn't see anything at SHOT Show.
Okay. Clover or G?
I did not go to Ruger either. So go ahead, G.
Yeah, I didn't look at any products really.
Okay. All right. We will move on. What's our next one, ladies?
Yes. Let's see. Those are the ones I had written down.
Okay. Well, then we're just going to go ahead and because we're an hour and 40 minutes in, so we'll start kind of wrapping up then, and we'll kind of run through the panel, and you can promote your channel, promote your show, say your good nights, however you want to do it. We'll start at the far end. We'll start with Clover.
Clovertech.com. You can get on board with pretty much any of the content on any platform. Be looking for a few things. I'm so burnt out over the SHOT Show and the drive and everything else. I can't remember the Fire on Friday podcast that'll release this week, but I do know that Friday the podcast with Kid Safe Foundation dropped. I haven't really looked at the numbers on that, but I can guarantee you for the topic that was talked about in that particular organization, they're not near enough. So if you haven't checked that out, YouTube, Gunstreamer, your favorite podcasting platform, whatever, it's there. It's waiting on you. It is, I don't know, less than an hour conversation. So jump in on that and check that out. And yeah, be looking for a few things. Be looking for some giveaways. And we didn't talk much about, I think, or any at all about swag and stuff like that tonight. But did go through some of that earlier. And I've got a few special things that were picked up, sort of limited edition. Would have had to have been at SHOT Show to get them. Type things that we're gonna do. We're gonna do some giveaways. We'll do one probably general giveaway. May do an Instagram only, and definitely will be doing a gun streamer only giveaway in the next couple weeks.
Sweet. So next we'll move on to Ghost.
I really don't have much except for just check out the content. We got some stuff coming out the next week or two from SHOT Show. My coverage is a little bit different than one. One of them is going to be a really cool, great interview that I had with Maj from Black Guns Matter. I think I released my interview with Tonto today, so that was good. So yeah, it's just gonna be some cool stuff. But go check out everybody who was at SHOT Show, and I think everyone's got different perspectives on how they brought the SHOT Show to you this year. So whether Instagram or YouTube or whatever, go check everybody's stuff out. Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. How about we'll go ahead and Jessie.
I'm sorry, did you say my name?
I did. We're running through the panel for us to say goodnight, promote our channels, what have you. So,
my husband is out of the dungeon for a little while, so I'm not really sure what my schedule's going to be entailing for the next couple of days. Hopefully get some videos out. Other than that, I'm a boring person. I've got kids. I ain't got plans.
Okay. How about you, G?
Always working. Thanks for the invite. And good meeting you again up at the show. And looking forward to what y'all do on your individual stuff like Ghost said. Follow everybody. It's going to be neat. A lot of different angles on the industry.
Awesome.
And it's going to be a good year. You kind of started out the show that everybody was talking about how great it was. I mean, it was really one of the better shows, I think, in most people's experience.
Right.
So if anyone was out there that couldn't make it or decided they didn't want to go or they couldn't go, whatever, I'm telling you, y'all missed it. Y'all missed it. And I hope the ship hadn't sailed.
All right. How about you, Mike?
First, let me say thank you for the invite, and for anybody who wants to follow me or look at any of the adventures that I posted from SHOT Show, go follow me on Instagram. Just do a search for M-W Tactical, or just go ahead and put in at Munitions Weapons Tactical, and it'll come up. But right now, like I said, I'm just looking forward to what is about to take place in 2019. And do a follow-up with all the contacts that we made at SHOT Show to make this endeavor for 2019 a success. And I'm just happy to actually meet everybody face-to-face. And hopefully we can all build off of the friendship and possibly do some future collabs together. So I'm just looking forward to pulling triggers and doing more conversations.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How about you, Stacey?
It's been really great listening to everybody talk about SHOT. I'm excited to go next year. Other than that, planned on doing some videos. Well, I was supposed to do videos today. That got sidetracked by doing cattle. On the plus side, my husband got into a fight with a 300-pound calf, and he lost.
That calf was channeling its inner gunpowder beauty. I just want y'all to know that, right?
Please tell me you got that on video. Please tell me you got that on video.
You know what? We were the only ones in the barn at the time. His dad and stuff went in to eat, and it cornered him in a corner, and I was over here and I was like trying to, I had the hot shot in my hand, and I didn't know whether to try and hot shot him to make him, I didn't know if that'd make him mad. My husband's glad I did not do the hot shot. But yeah, I was thinking, oh my God.
If there's like there's a bull messing with him, I'd hate to have him. Why would you give Snob a shot with the
I was about to say, are you talking about using the hot shot on the cow or your husband?
I've already threatened to use a hot shot on him today. But
if you do that, please get it on video.
Yeah, I wish I would have had my camera, because I told him afterwards. I said, "Man, I should have my camera. I should have got it on video. That would have been so.
That would have gone viral. That would have gone viral.
Yeah. Well, we put the GoPro on his truck when we went out there to chase the cattle. Thinking from now on, I'm gonna have that thing in the barn. But yeah, so he lost that battle with the calf. I mean, it kept ramming his leg. He was stuck in the corner. It was pretty good, but he didn't think so afterwards.
I'm assuming he wasn't hurt because he wouldn't be laughing about it if he was. So he's okay ultimately.
Yeah, well, luckily he had turned, because otherwise it probably would have hit a very sensitive spot. He turned and it got his thigh, and it kept ramming his thigh. And he's like trying to push it off of him. And he didn't have a stick, didn't have anything to fight it off. So it finally turned around and went out the barn. And about that time, he found a metal tamping bar and like threw it at it. But so now his leg's a little sore and a little bruised, but he's not hurt. He's not bruised up yet, but it's pretty sore, but he's still walking on it and stuff. So it was pretty good though afterwards, when he wasn't like totally maimed. So at least it was just a calf and not one of those big huge full grown cows. I mean, it was still probably at least 300 pounds, but it could have been 800 pounds or more. So that was a highlight of my day. But I was supposed to get videos done today. Time we got done with that, it was like 6 and it was dark. So next nice day I have, I'll do some videos and get some videos out.
All right. Well, thank you all for watching us. I'm That Guy's Wife on Instagram. I've been posting a lot of stuff there. I've been trying my best to get some of it moved over to our Gun Gals on Facebook. On our public page, I will work on that some more also. We each have our own individual pages, or each individual YouTubes, as well as our collective YouTube. So be sure and check us out there. I know we've got a lot to talk about. I know that there's going to be a lot of neat stuff coming out of this. So definitely stay tuned for what's going to come up. So again, thank you all. Jessie, I'm going to let you bring us home.
All right. If you're new to Gun Gals, we would like to invite you to like our Facebook page, and for the ladies, find our ladies only Gun Gals group. Our group is where ladies can ask questions or share experiences with other gun carrying ladies, as well as keep our discussions going throughout the week. So definitely go check it out. And real quick, a huge shout out to Gun Channels. If you haven't yet, check it out. Gun Channels is an online 2A community where we can share and connect with other like-minded members. We stream live there as well as here every Sunday at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you haven't yet, also take a moment to go check out Gun Gals SpreadShirts, where we have tons of ways for you to support Gun Gals while looking fabulous. You can find us at the link posted below. Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Gun Gals Live. We would love your input for what content you would like to see from the Gun Gals on our live show, as for the rest of our channel. You can share your ideas or just send us some love at info@gun-gals.com. Good night, y'all, and we'll see y'all on the next video.